So, hello. Hi, everyone. Um, so we are on the final episode of the podcast. It is quite hard. I can't believe it. This is the 10th. Is it the 10th? 10th. I think it's the 10th, right? 10th episode. And the final one for this season, before we're back again in the new year. So for the final episode, we're going to do something a little bit special. We are going to swap roles. So usually, as everyone knows, I host, and we talk to a lovely variety of different people, professionals, parents, and whoever has something to say. We are open to listening if they can help. But this time, I am going to be the guest. And we have with us Nicoletta. So Nicoletta, you actually started out as one of our parents.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. So Nicoletta started out as one of our parents. I met Nicoletta last year, right? Yeah. What year are we in?
It's been a year. Yes, it's been a year.
It's been a year. It's for anyone listening to this episode, by the way, it is nearly 6 p.m. after a long day. My words, yeah, it's going to be fun to get through this. But anyway, yes. So I met you last year. I met Nicoletta last year as a parent to bring your child to us. I fell in love with you from the minute I met you. I became completely obsessed with you. You became a parent.
It's good that the feelings are mutual. Otherwise, it would have been weird, you know.
It would have been a little bit weird. It would have been a stalker situation.
Yes.
If we hadn't had a mutual love at first sight relationship.
Yes, exactly.
It would have been weird. But thankfully, it was mutual. And you then became our teacher, one of our TAs, in January. Mm-hmm. You joined our team, and yes, so from parent to TA to friend, feels like you've always been here, essentially.
It does. Like, we've commented on this a few times. We said it's been a year, but for me, it's like you've always somehow always been in the conscience of my life. If that makes sense.
Yes, it feels like you've always been a part of my life, and I think we're just soulmates, Nicoletta. I think that's just the thing. Right. So you are here. Mm-hmm.
Maybe we are. Yeah, maybe. It's a different podcast, that one. But
we'll have another conversation about that. So today, you are here to essentially interview me.
Yes.
Which I'm not used to. I'm not used to being on this side. But if I'm going to do it with anyone, I want it to be with you. So that's why you are here. And also, the concept of this came about quite recently, relatively recently, when I met someone and they were asking me questions about our story and how we got to where we are. And I realized, it's not actually something that a lot of people know about, but a lot of people wonder about. And so I thought it'd be nice to share. I always say I'm an open book. So this is the episode of being an open book. And so we'll see where this conversation goes. Whatever other people are thinking, you'll have thought it as well at some point as a parent before you became a teacher and a friend. So I think I will stop talking now, and I will hand over to you.
if you want to ask me questions at some point so we can find the balance, so be
yeah. If I feel the need to ask a question because it's in me, I am going to ask you a question.
And then I will ask you back, why do you think? And then it will be back to me asking the questions.
Yes.
We're gonna figure it out. But yeah, I'm very excited that we get to have this conversation where I'm sure I will discover or remember again things and parts of your story and your origins for the school, but in general as well, because I think what you have created is a community, and you don't create a community from one day to the next. It takes a lot, and it takes a vision. And yeah, so do you want to tell, was that always the vision when you first thought of it? Was the vision always, this is going to be a community?
Yes. So I believe in that, that cliche of it takes a village. I truly believe it takes a village to raise a child. And I wanted this to have this space that I want for my own children, which was, when your children spend time at school, they're not just there, I feel, as academic learners. I feel that, they're so young, and we all have to be a part of raising them. If, as a parent, when I thought about my own children, if I was telling them one thing at home and then they were going to school and they were hearing another thing that negated what was happening at home, or vice versa, if they were going to school and hearing something and then coming home and hearing another, I think it would create this conflict in their upbringing, which would have an effect on their upbringing. So I always felt that I never wanted to create something that was just a school. I wanted to create a community that offered a lot more than just academic development.
Yeah. I'm going to take you back a little bit to our first conversation, because now you mentioned your own children and how you felt when you had your own children that this is what you would have wished for them. And I remember very vividly in that first conversation when you said, because we were very, both me and Kyriakos we're researching a lot, and we were trying to find something that we felt really matched with our values and our ideals and our wishes for our child. And we were talking about this to you, and through all of the things you said, you also said, when I had my children, I did the same, and I couldn't find what I wanted for my children. So I decided to do it for everyone else's children.
Yeah.
Which to me, I mean, it's very generous, and it's like accepting the fact that your own children won't have your ideal, but you're taking that drive and you are creating it and giving it out into the world. So is that what was that the beginning of your vision, the fact that you had your own children? Or
yes,
the dream was already there?
Look, the dream of education was already there. Me and my husband, I don't think everyone knows that that Rise is owned by me and my husband, because Tony, he's very behind the scenes and not many people actually see him. So me and my husband both went into education. We're both passionate about education, but the concept of early years education and my passion for early years education didn't actually start until I had my own children.
Okay.
And then when I had my own children and I had to leave them, and the concept of becoming a working mum came into play, and I had to choose somewhere to leave them. There were some lovely places. There's some lovely places, and there still are lovely places. But I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. And as a mother, I'm very demanding, and I have very high expectations for my children. And I could find lovely places, but they weren't perfect. They weren't exactly what I was looking for. I could either find places that were very, they would achieve high level academics, and they would learn so much by the time they left them, which was great. But then they lacked the community feel and the family feeling. And then there was other ones who academics just didn't come into play, and it was a lovely family feeling, which was beautiful. But I wanted both. I wanted a place that simply helped parents raise children. It was as simple as that for me. I'm a working mum. I need my child to go somewhere, but I don't want a school, and I don't want a play area. I want you to help me raise them. And there's a lot of components to that. So when it didn't exist, we said, well, you know what? Let's create a place that we want our children to go to. And it was as simple as that in our minds.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but I'm sure the process of getting there.
No.
But you mentioned your passion of education already being there. So then, just to your background is in education, both yours and Tony's, right? So
yes.
Is it what was your road parallel when you were studying
with Tony?
With Tony, yeah.
No.
Okay.
Tony did primary school education.
Okay.
I actually did my initial degrees in English language and literature. And I thought I would love that. And then when I finished and I went actually to teach, and I went into the older years, I was hysterical. I was so upset. I was so distraught. I realized this is not who I am. What have I done? Why did I do this? And I very quickly realized that it's not the older years that I have passion for, and it's the early years I have passion for. I very quickly, when I went into my postgraduate education, the practical side of teaching, and I went into the classrooms, I quickly realized that anything that I saw in the children, or any way that the children acted, it always had something to do with the past years in their life. And it was always going back, to when they were little, when they were younger, when they were in nursery, and it was always going back. And I realized there's a reason it's always going back. And why are we focusing on this now? And why haven't we focused on this when they were then? Why wasn't it an issue then? Now they're 10. What are we going to do now at 10? It's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of money to fix this now.
All the knots that were created throughout the years, right?
Yeah. So then I thought, no, it's because early years is so underestimated, and the view of it, the view of early years that people have is so wrong, that people aren't putting enough emphasis on it. And it's later on they're thinking, okay, this is when it's important. It's important when they're in primary school. What are they going to learn in early years? Well, we can fix it. But it's not that's not the case. And once I realized this, that's when I had my own children, and I thought, this now, when I was looking at my own children, I thought, this now is where we need to focus. At this point now is where we need to put emphasis. And that's when I went back and I retrained to be in early years. And I just became incredibly passionate about it. It became the center of my world and this mission to change the view of early years.
Do you know how sometimes you have, especially when you set out to do something that either it is underestimated or it is viewed as not important enough, or that your set of skills is for something more serious or for something more advanced or whatever, that did you have those whispers around you telling you either directly or indirectly that, what are you doing? Like, why are you letting this for this?
I will always remember this one comment I got when I switched my profession, essentially, and went into early years. And somebody commented, a person close to me actually commented, and they said, okay, but they just do finger painting. And to me, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the level of ignorance that existed.
Yes, that's what it is, yeah.
In society, not because people are idiotic or they're unintelligent, simply because that is what society, that's what society has taught them. Yeah. That early years, they're just like, okay, they're just going to go and play. They're just going to go do some finger painting, and then they're going to go home.
Which is what they think a lot of the times the teachers do with the children.
Yeah.
Like, you're not doing, you're not really tired, or you're not really doing, when in fact a nursery teacher, a preschool teacher, they are setting the foundations for the learning of every child they come in touch with.
Yeah. Children in the early years, they come to us and they're blank. They are a blank canvas. And whatever environment you put them in, whether you put them in a preschool or not, whatever environment you put them in, you're going to leave impressions on them, whether you think you're leaving them or not. Just because you're not saying something to them does not mean they're not listening.
Yeah.
You might be talking to somebody next to you, and they can hear, they're listening to that. The way you talk to them as well leaves an impression. The example you set for them leaves an impression. The way you speak to people leaves an impression. All of this happens in the early years. So when a child gets to 10 years old and they're rude, they're what is considered rude, it's because in the early years, possibly they were not taught to speak respectfully or behave respectfully. Just a simple please and thank you. That's things that are not taught at 10. Yeah. If a child at 10 years old is throwing their plastic bottle out of the window when the car is moving, it's because possibly at 3 years old, they were not taught what a recycling bin is. And it's very difficult to reteach a 10-year-old to behave differently. It's not impossible. But why should we start then? Why can't we just start now and just make it a natural part of their life? Everything from manners to being environmentally friendly, to living a healthy lifestyle, to being kind. Why can't we start now when they're 2?
So how did you start then? So you decided this is what was happening. Was it like a conversation that happened concurrently with Tony? Were you like on the same page? Yes, let's do this. Did he came to you first? Did you go to him first? Or was it like a thing that happened, karmically?
The way it happened was we had decided, right, we're going to do this. This is happening. And obviously we couldn't go and plop out a school and fill it with 50 children. We actually started as a home nursery, and we had 6 children in our home, and it was just me and Tony, and it was incredibly hard in terms of, being by myself, because I cooked for them and I cleaned for them and I educated them and everything that, now we have a team of 20, and we have cooks and we have educators and we have cleaners and we have managers and we have secretaries and all of this. And I was one person doing all of that. So, I'd wake up in the morning and I would start cooking at 5:30, ready for the doorbell to start ringing at 7 a.m., which is when we opened. We actually let people come to our house from 7 a.m. and they would stay with us until 7 p.m.
Wow.
Yes. That was a thing. that was a big day.
Sounds okay.
So that's how we started. And we got to meet our first 6 families, which was, we became so close with them. The majority of them we became very close friends with. We're still friends with them. We're still in contact with their children. We still meet up. We call them our originals.
The originals.
The originals.
And how many years ago was that?
That was in 2016.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah. Yes. I've just realized that. Yes, that was almost 10. We have to have a reunion at 10 years. We have to have a reunion. We'll have a reunion party. Yeah. So that was 2016. That was and obviously it was the first year that we started something on our own. And I think one of the reasons I appreciate and I adore our original family so much is because it was our first year. So obviously we weren't perfect and we made our mistakes in terms of, how we would communicate with them. And, now we have a portal, it's a whole thing and it's this whole technology. We used to have go with text messages and tell them things. And now, now we want to update our parents and it's on the portal and there's a notebook and you can see what they ate. And then it was like a little piece of paper and we would tell them what they ate. But we weren't perfect. We made mistakes and they grew with us and they loved us for who we were, and they saw through all of the mistakes and they still loved us. And that's why I think I have such a huge appreciation for those families.
I mean, they believed in you.
They believed in us. They did.
Someone could even argue more than maybe you believed in yourselves, or the people who already knew you, because it takes a lot for a stranger to entrust the most valuable person in their lives to someone else.
Yeah, they did believe in us, despite it being our first year. And we were young. They saw us, they saw something in us that, as you said, possibly we doubted, and they truly believed in us and they supported us and they stood by us. And honestly, I can't say enough of how much I adore them. They are the reason that we were able to get to where we are today. If it wasn't for those 6 people, those 6 families believing in us, we wouldn't be where we are today. So yeah.
And it grew. It felt, because we said it's been almost fast. 10 years, but at the same time, that amount of time, which is 8 years. My maths is really not good. It's
8 years. Right. 8 years.
But nonetheless, it's not that it's a lot, but at the same time, it's really not for the amount of growth that you've had.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? Was it, so you went from it being a home school, a home environment, to opening Kidsperience? Was that the next step?
Yes. So listen, this is what makes me and Tony an amazing team, is that he was able to make this happen. I have a lot of passion and I have a lot of love, but in terms of growing a business, no, I have the love. I have the love and I have the passion for early years, and he's able to turn it into a school. So Tony was able to essentially be the biggest part in making this grow in terms of business, let's say. And we found a Kidsperience. We found a building, and the capacity was 50 children. And going from 6 to 50, it was terrifying.
Yeah. Okay, so it was from 6 to 50. Boom.
Yeah, that we had to put 50 children in the school. Now we said, okay, let's not go to 50. Let's open our doors and let's open 2 classes instead of 3. So when we opened our doors, we had 22 children. Again, these families I have such a soft spot for, because these families also believed in us and trusted us, despite the fact that this was the first school we'd opened outside of the home nursery. And they had a lot of belief in us and faith in us, and they completely trusted us. So again, these are also families that I hold close to my heart, and again, families that we still keep in touch with. And so we opened with 22. Within a year, we grew to 39, and by the new academic year, so this was 2018, when we started the year 2019, we were at full capacity with 50. This was something that we never imagined, ever. We never imagined that to happen, but it did. We were so humbled by people's the love that people had, and the people just kind of they related to what we believed in. And it was incredible. It was incredible the response we got, and it was so humbling. And then and then when we kept growing, we said, look, we need to keep going. We can't. This is what children should get. This is the education that children should get. We need to keep going. And then the idea of creating a branch came up, and we said, okay, we're just going to create a branch, and so that many children can get this, because this is what they should be getting. And yes, that's when Rise started as the organization, and Roots opened in 2022. Yeah, we're well on our way to being able to achieve our mission right from the start of this is what early years education should look like. That's the dream.
You the more you say, the more these 8 years feel like nothing for the amount of growth and the trust that you have received, rightfully so. And I think for me that's the key, because you said before, what was it? I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it doesn't. I have my train of thought again. You know how we said that it feels like I've always, been in a part of the school, or not to take it on a personal level, but like part of the school. It feels like you've always been part of this journey as well. And I think this is something you carry as people, both you and Tony. There is such clarity in what you do and what you want, which is really difficult for the people you're coming in touch with not to feel secure and at ease and like feel okay, they've got us.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly or adequately, but I think that's what it is. And that's what you need when you take your child, your very, very young child, and you entrust it to someone. You want to feel that they've got us. They've got the little one, and it's okay.
Yeah. So it's because it's never been a business for me. It's never been a business. It's never been what I do. It's who I am.
Yeah.
It's what I believe. It's the way I think the world should look. The early years world should look.
Yeah.
So yes, I understand what you're saying. If so, I got asked a question once, and somebody said to me, "Why you? What makes you special?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't know. I might not be special to you. You might not believe in the things that I believe. You might not view the way things I view. It's not that we're the best for everyone. It's not that we're the best. We're just simply doing what we believe is correct, and what would like to pass on to children. That's it. It's nothing, it's just who we are, and that's just simple. This is just simple as that for me.
And I think that is exactly what creates the community, because to have a community with the romantic sense of the word as well, is when people who are part of that community, they believe in the same thing, or they share the same values, or they learn from each other, they have the same drive. So you need leaders for that as well, but you also need an openness for that's what it is. You need to be open so that you can hold as many as you can within that growing community. But what else do you have in mind? Because I know it can't be just this. I'm noticing that there is even this podcast.
Yes.
I'm sure it's not just I'm gonna do a podcast on a whim.
No. So look, the mission has always been to change the view of early years. Now, you can reach as many children as you like, but in my mind, if you don't reach the parents to change their view, or to mold their view if they don't have one, or to convince them of the value of early years, then your interaction with children will be negated. So this is what the podcast was about, to educate the parents, to educate the adults. And then we can move on to the children. Because as I said right at the beginning, if we're talking to the children about recycling, and they're going home and they're looking for a recycling bin, and there is no recycling bin, and the parent says, "Oh my gosh, just throw it in the bin," then what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So it's the value of early years that I am on a mission to pass on, and to change, and to mold, and to create. And I will scream it until I'm blue in the face about how early years matter. And that's it.
I know we've been talking a lot about this sense of community and the families that you've met along the way, the originals, and then the first families in Experience, and then every other family that came along the way all these past 8 years. But to me, both as a parent, and then it was confirmed when I joined your team, for me it was also important, and again, very romantic, the way I was receiving, or that I was reading, how you were treating and viewing your educators as well. Because that is just as important as it is the way you treat, you know, your families. And as I said, it was then confirmed when I joined the team. But this sense of family and respect and community is also, it translated, you know, it transfers to your team of educators as well. How is that, you know, because you started on your own, like you said, you were doing everything. And just to correct myself, I'm saying educators, but really I mean everyone that is part of the team.
Yeah. The team. Yeah. Look, the sense of community applies to the team as well.
Yeah.
Like I said before, it's not what I do, it's simply who I am. I'm a very open person. There is no such thing as my the same with Tony. There's no such thing in our world as the professional self and the personal self. It's just self. It's just who we are. Okay. So our team is our family. I want this space for children to come in and feel like they are with their family. And for that to be achieved, we have to be a family.
Yeah.
So I want the same love that I want for the children, and the same respect and the same feeling of community and togetherness that I want for the children and the parents, I want for my team. And my priority is for our children to be happy and to be in a positive environment. For me to achieve that, my team has to be happy. My team has to be fulfilled. They have to want to be here. They have to want to come every day and spend time together as one. And that's the only way it makes sense to me. Is if we are genuinely friends, genuinely family, genuinely sisters. That's the only way that it makes sense to me. So the same way that I view my babies and I want the best for them and I worry about them and I go home at night and I think, oh, she didn't seem very well. I hope she's, not sick. The same thing goes through my head about a member of my team. If I see that a member of my team doesn't seem quite themselves, and I'll go home and I'll think something's bothering her, I'll ask her tomorrow if she's okay.
Yeah.
And again, essentially it goes back to, we are an example for our children. Our children, when they're in the classroom, they should be seeing us together, communicating positively, going to each other and say, hi, Nicoletta. Do you seem a bit tired? Would you like a hug? Would you like a hug? The children see this. The children see this, and this kindness and this positivity and this, what's the word? Genuinity? What's the word? What do you mean genuine? There's a word. There's a word.
There's a word. No, it's not ingenuity, is it?
Being genuine.
Being genuine, yeah.
Is what we want them to see. It's what we want them to be. So it's just, it all comes back to them.
You know what popped in my mind when you were describing this, there is, they have, children have the most proud but it's the most innocent pride that you can imagine, and it's paired with joy when they want to show you. I remember very specific instances of children showing either to me or Stella, and because we have the really little ones,
the babies,
and when they're showing us, look, Nicoletta, look, I'm holding hands with this person. I'm holding hands. Look at me. Or look, we're hugging. And that the fact that this is what they are most proud of, and they recognize the value of togetherness in such a huge way. And it makes me so happy and sad at the same time to realize that. Makes me happy that we have that as humans we have that ability, and it makes me sad that somewhere along the way we lose it. We lose that self pride for being kind. Yes, for being to one another, and the fact that we're not an island, we're really not, and coming together is what brings us the utmost joy at the end of the day. And they want to share that with their teachers, because we are there, I don't know, during the day. They want to make us proud as well. They want to.
You're their people.
Yes. But they're not choosing to show us. Of course they do that as well, but to show us their artwork, or something they've written or something they've built, which is very, very important. But that sparkle I've only seen when they want to show us that they're holding hands or that they're hugging each other.
And that's why I love being in early years, because you don't get that in adulthood. You don't. And you don't really get that in primary school and secondary school and with adults. And I just think these ages and these years are the most incredible, the nicest place to be in the world, sitting on the floor with a child, especially my babies. To sit on the floor with them and just get into their world, speak their language, listen to all their stories and what they're saying, and see how their mind works, and to be a part of that is honestly the most magical place in the world. And I would not, as challenging as sometimes have been, because in this episode of our story I've made it sound quite easy. Hasn't been easy. Been many challenges, many difficulties, many tears along the way, from disappointment or frustration or sadness. But never in a million years would I change a single minute of our story just so that I can sit on the floor with my babies and listen to their stories.
Because maybe that's just, one little, I don't know how to translate that in English, you see. I'm just trying to find the right, but I'm trying to say is that maybe you are part of the reason that this magic will continue on.
I hope so. I hope it will continue on. That's the goal. That is the goal. That we will be a part of a very, very long journey. And they won't remember us. They will not remember Miss Katerina in preschool. They will not remember Miss Stella, Miss Nicoletta. They won't remember our name, but the effect that we can have on them will be long lasting. And the effect of the community that we create will be long lasting. And that is what's important. That is what's important. What's going to last inside them. That is what is significant here. So
maybe they will be holding hands when they are adults and have that same pride on their face and that same joy.
I hope so. I hope so, Nicoletta. I hope so.
Me too.
Wow. I think we don't think there's anything left in my story. We've reached present day.
Okay, we're in today. We can do future if you want.
The future will be revealed very soon. Okay. We will leave that for another podcast episode.
Okay, deal.
Watch this space, people. Watch this space.
More things are coming. More schools, it sounds
always. Like. Something is always coming. Something is always coming, Nicoletta. Come on, always. We'll always keep you on your toes. But yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Sharing. Me too. And thank you so much for sharing all of your story and how you started and the role that Tony had from the beginning and how the team that you are. And I'm sure a lot of people will, there will be like this, the new episode. What happens next?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it was a nice trip down memory lane. I haven't actually thought about our story for so long, and to go back and remember all of that and how we got here. But yeah, I hope it answered a lot of people's questions. Somebody asked me the other day, somebody said, oh, they came to meet with us and they saw, our Meet the Team board, and they said, oh, you're the co-founder? They think, and I realized, oh my God, people don't actually know. People think it's just, so owned by somebody that's not visible.
Like a ghost.
Just, somebody living in another country. So yeah, I think it's nice. As I said, I'm an open book and I'm always happy to share every part of our lives. So it's been a nice one. It's been a nice one.
Thank you for sharing.
So that,
and thank you for letting me ask all the questions.
Thank you for being here. As I said, I would not do this with anyone but you. You're my soulmate. Apparently, that's what we're going with.
That's what we're going with.
That's what we're going with, my soulmate. That's that. So that was it. That was the last episode
of my season.
And we will be back in the new academic year with new guests. So yeah, I think it would be nice for anyone listening, for the listeners of our podcast, if they have an idea of somebody that they would want us to talk to or a topic that would like to be covered. I think it's nice. You can get in touch and let us know what you'd want us to cover. Or if you'd like to know more from me, I'm sure Nicoletta can come back and ask more questions.
I can gather the questions. Next time it won't be my question.
So yes, thank you, Nicoletta. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the whole season. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. And we will say goodbye for now, and we will see you next season. Bye-bye.